The massive ship drifted through the cold darkness between stars. Its hull, once shining like polished metal, now showed deep scars from 3 years of running. Inside the ship called Sanctuary's Hope, 50,000 beings tried to survive another day. Captain Zarathul stood on the bridge, her crystalline body catching the dim light from broken displays. The Kethmori were beautiful creatures, their skin like living gemstones that could shift from blue to purple to green. But beauty meant nothing when you were dying in space. "Captain, the air recyclers are failing again," reported her second officer, Telshan. His crystal skin had turned a dull gray from stress and poor nutrition. "We have maybe 2 weeks before the air becomes poison." Zarathul closed her large, faceted eyes. 2 weeks. They had been searching for a new home for 3 long years. Every planet they approached turned them away. Every space station refused to let them dock. The galactic hegemony had marked them as criminals, and no one wanted to anger the galaxy's most powerful government. The Kethmori crime was simple. They said no. When the hegemony demanded their biocrystal technology, the Kethmori refused. Their crystals could store vast amounts of energy and even heal damaged planets. The hegemony wanted to use this power to control more worlds. The Kethmori believed their gift should help all life, not just the powerful. So the hegemony destroyed their homeworld. Mining ships stripped away the crystal forests where the Kethmori had lived for thousands of years. Those who escaped were branded as enemies of galactic peace. Now they wandered space looking for someone who would give them a chance. "Show me the star charts," Zarathul ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing nearby star systems. Most were controlled by hegemony allies. A few were empty, but one caught her attention, a small yellow star with several planets. "What do we know about this system?" she asked, pointing to the star. Telshan checked their old records. "It has a blue-green planet. The hegemony calls it Earth. The records say it has primitive life forms called humans. They have not even learned to travel between stars yet." Zarathul studied the information. The humans had only been sending radio signals for about a century. They had no space fleet, no advanced weapons. The Galactic Council considered them too backward to contact. "How far?" she asked. 12 days at our current speed. "But Captain, these humans are very primitive. They might not even understand us." Zarathul looked around the bridge. Her crew was tired and scared. Children were getting sick from bad air and poor food. The ship's gardens, where they grew their food, were dying without proper light systems. "They might not understand us," she said quietly. "But they also might not know we are supposed to be criminals." She made her decision. Set course for Earth. The journey took 13 days because the engines kept breaking down. Every day brought new problems. The water recyclers made strange noises. Food ran low. Parents held sick children and wondered if they would live to see a new world. Zarathul spent those days learning about Earth. Their old databases had some information about humans. These creatures seemed very strange. They fought wars but also made beautiful art. They destroyed parts of their world but also worked to save animals. They were divided into many different groups but sometimes came together to help each other. Most strange of all, humans seemed to welcome strangers. The records showed they had something called refugees, people who left their homes because of war or disaster. Often other humans would help these refugees even when it was difficult. "Captain, we are approaching the Earth system," Telshan announced. Zarathul felt her heart crystals pulse faster. This was their last chance. If the humans said no, the Kethmori would die in space. "Send them a message," she ordered. "Tell them we need help." Earth's machines detected them quickly. Radio signals filled the space around the planet as humans talked to each other in panic and excitement. Some voices sounded afraid. Others sounded curious. Zarathul was surprised when the humans sent back a message in clear galactic standard language. "Unknown vessel. This is Earth traffic control. We see you are in distress. How can we help you?" Zarathul stared at the message. Not "go away" or "state your business," just "how can we help?" She recorded her reply carefully. "People of Earth, I am Captain Zarathul of the Kethmori. We are refugees. Our ship is dying and we need a safe place to repair it. We have food and supplies to trade. We only ask for temporary shelter." The wait felt like forever. Zarathul imagined the humans were discussing what to do. Would they be afraid? Would they demand weapons or technology? Would they call the hegemony? Finally, a new voice came through the radio. It belonged to a human female who spoke with calm authority. "Captain Zarathul, This is President Sarah Chen of the United Earth Government. You are welcome in our system. We are sending ships to guide you to a safe orbit. Our doctors and engineers are ready to help with your repairs. Zarathul felt her crystals brighten for the first time in years. Around the bridge, her crew began to cry tears of relief. Children who had been sick started to laugh, but Telshan looked worried. Captain, what if this is a trap? What if they plan to turn us over to the hegemony? Zarathul watched Earth grow larger on their screens. It was beautiful, covered in blue oceans and white clouds. She could see the lights of human cities on the dark side of the planet. Then we will die with dignity, she said. But something tells me these humans are different. Small human ships came to meet them. They were tiny compared to Sanctuary's hope, but they moved with purpose and skill. The humans guided them to a stable orbit and immediately began sending supplies, medicine, food, tools for repairs. Dr. James Okafor was the first human to come aboard their ship. He was a tall, dark-skinned man with kind eyes and gentle hands. He spoke their language poorly but with great effort. "Welcome to Earth," he said, his words careful and slow. "We are honored to meet you." Zarathul studied this strange creature. He had no crystals, no natural armor, no special abilities that she could see. But when he looked at her people, she saw no fear, only curiosity and compassion. "You are not afraid of us?" she asked. Dr. Okafor smiled. "Should we be? You asked for help. In our experience, those who ask for help usually need it." Over the next few days, more humans came to help. They brought doctors who learned quickly how to treat Kethmori illnesses. Engineers worked alongside Telshan to fix the ship's systems. Children from Earth sent pictures and messages of welcome. But Zarathul knew this peace would not last. The hegemony had spies everywhere. Soon they would learn where the Kethmori had gone, and when they came, these kind humans would face a choice: give up their guests or fight the most powerful force in the galaxy. As she watched Earth turn slowly below them, Zarathul hoped the humans understood what they had gotten themselves into. The galaxy had cast out the Kethmori, but Earth had welcomed them in. Now both species would face the consequences together. The emergency meeting room in Geneva buzzed with nervous energy. President Sarah Chen looked at the faces around the table: world leaders, scientists and military advisors from every nation on Earth. Outside, news crews from around the world waited for information about humanity's first contact with aliens. "Let me make sure I understand," said General Martinez, head of Earth's space defense. "These crystal people are refugees from something called the Galactic Hegemony. They want to fix their ship and leave." Dr. James Okafor nodded. "That's correct. The Kethmori are not invaders. They're running from persecution." "And this hegemony?" asked President Chen. "A galactic government that controls most of known space. According to the Kethmori, it's very powerful and doesn't like people who refuse to follow their rules." Director Liu from the Science Council leaned forward. "What kind of technology do these refugees have? Could it help us?" Dr. Okafor had spent 3 days aboard the Kethmori ship. What he had seen amazed him. Their biocrystal technology is incredible. They can store massive amounts of energy, heal damaged ecosystems, even purify polluted water, but they refuse to use it as a weapon. "That might be why they're refugees," said President Chen quietly. The discussion continued for hours. Some leaders worried about the cost of helping 50,000 aliens. Others feared making enemies of this galactic hegemony. But Dr. Okafor had brought video messages from the Kethmori children, and those changed many minds. A small Kethmori girl named Lyra had recorded a message in broken English. "Thank you, Earth people. Your food tastes funny but good. My mama says you are kind. I want to learn your language better." President Chen made the decision. "We help them, not because we want their technology, but because it's the right thing to do." Back on the Kethmori ship, Captain Zarathul met with human engineers. She was surprised by how quickly they learned. The humans couldn't understand the biocrystal technology completely, but they found ways to help repair the ship's basic systems. "Your people work differently than we expected," Zarathul told Dr. Okafor as they walked through the ship's crystal gardens. "How so?" "In the galaxy, when one species helps another, they always want something in return. Technology, resources, territory. But your people just help." Dr. Okafor touched one of the glowing crystals gently. It pulsed with warm light. "Humans have a long history with refugees. We know what it's like to need help and have nowhere to go. He told her about Earth's history. Wars that forced people to flee their homes. Natural disasters that left millions homeless. Economic problems that made families leave everything behind. And always there were other humans willing to help even when they had little to give. We call it humanity, he said. It means being kind to others, especially when they need help most. Zarathul found this concept fascinating. In Kethmori culture, they helped their own people but were cautious with strangers. The galaxy had taught them that trust was dangerous. But surely your people have limits, she said. What if helping us brings trouble to Earth? Dr. Okafor was quiet for a moment. Then we face that trouble together. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent message from Earth. Telshan burst into the garden, his crystals flashing red with alarm. Captain! Long-range sensors have detected ships approaching. Hegemony warships! The news reached Earth within hours. 12 massive ships had entered the outer system, moving toward Earth at high speed. The lead ship broadcast a message on all frequencies. Primitive beings of Earth, I am Admiral Korath of the Hegemony Enforcement Fleet. You are harboring dangerous criminals. Surrender them immediately or face the consequences. President Chen called another emergency meeting. This time, Captain Zarathul joined them by video link from her ship. Admiral Korath is Vextai, Zarathul explained. His species values order above all else. He will see you as children who don't understand the adult world. What does he want? Asked General Martinez. He wants us, Zarathul said simply. And our technology. The hegemony believes all advanced technology belongs to them. Dr. Okafor studied the alien captain's face on the screen. Her crystal features showed deep sadness but also determination. What would happen if we gave you to them? He asked. They would take our people to work camps. Our children would be raised as hegemony citizens. Our technology would be used to control other worlds. In a generation, the Kethmori would no longer exist. The room fell silent. President Chen looked around the table at her advisors. Earth's military was powerful for a single planet, but against 12 alien warships? How long before they arrive? She asked. 48 hours, replied General Martinez. President Chen stood up. Then we have 48 hours to decide who we are as a species. Do we hand over refugees to save ourselves, or do we stand up for what's right? The debate that followed was fierce. Some argued that Earth couldn't fight an interstellar empire. Others said that giving up the Kethmori would mark humanity as cowards in the galaxy's eyes. Prime Minister Watanabe of Japan spoke quietly. My grandfather was a refugee after the war. Other countries could have turned him away, but they didn't. He always said that how we treat strangers shows who we really are. President Chen nodded. I won't be the leader who sold refugees to slavers. The decision was made. Earth would protect the Kethmori. News of the choice spread across the planet within hours. Social media exploded with Stand With Kethmori hashtags. People shared stories of their own families' refugee experiences. Children drew pictures of friendship between humans and crystal beings, but the response went beyond words. Retired naval officers volunteered to captain old cargo ships. Fishing boat captains offered their vessels. Even families with small pleasure craft signed up to help. What are they doing? Zarathul asked as she watched thousands of human ships moving into space. Dr. Okafor smiled sadly. They're forming a shield. If Admiral Korath wants to reach your people, he'll have to go through them first. But these ships have no weapons. The hegemony will destroy them. Maybe. But humans have a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. As the hegemony fleet drew closer, Earth's improvised navy took position around the Kethmori ship. Old cargo haulers flew alongside luxury yachts. Research vessels joined fishing boats. The ships had no hope of winning a battle, but they sent a clear message. Captain Maria Santos commanded a converted cargo ship called Second Chance. She had been a refugee herself, fleeing war in South America as a child. Now she was a ship captain and she wasn't going to let other refugees suffer. All ships, this is Santos. Remember, we're not here to fight. We're here to show that Earth stands with the innocent. Admiral Korath's ships arrived exactly on schedule. The alien admiral studied the human formation with confusion. These primitive beings were using their own bodies as shields. It made no tactical sense. Humans of Earth, his voice boomed across all frequencies. You have 48 hours to remove your ships and surrender the criminals. This is your only warning. President Chen's reply was broadcast to both Earth and the hegemony fleet. Admiral Korath, The Kethemori are not criminals. They are refugees seeking shelter. As long as they wish to stay, Earth will protect them. That is what neighbors do. The countdown began. In 48 hours, the most powerful military force in the galaxy would face a shield of cargo ships, fishing boats, and fishing vessels crewed by people who refused to abandon strangers in need. On Earth, people gathered around televisions and computer screens. In the Kethemori ship, families held their children close. In the human fleet, ordinary people prepared to face warships that could destroy planets. None of them knew what would happen next. But they all knew one thing. When the galaxy cast out the innocent, Earth would welcome them in. Admiral Korath stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Divine Order, studying the strange sight before him. Thousands of primitive human vessels surrounded the Kethemori ship like a living wall. He had fought pirates, rebels, and rogue governments across the galaxy, but he had never seen anything like this. "Admiral, we've identified the ship types," reported Commander Shex, his tactical officer. "Cargo haulers, fishing vessels, pleasure craft. Most have no weapons at all." Korath's forearms gestured in the Vextai expression of confusion. The Vextai were a logical species. They conquered worlds through superior technology and overwhelming force. These humans were using neither. "What strategic advantage do they hope to gain?" he asked. "Unknown, sir. Our intelligence says humans are divided into competing nations. We expected them to surrender the refugees to protect themselves." But Admiral Korath was seeing something his intelligence had missed. Radio chatter between the human ships revealed people from every nation on Earth. Americans flew alongside Russians. Chinese captains worked with European crews. Former enemies had become allies in defending strangers. The 48-hour deadline approached. Earth's leaders tried one last negotiation. "Admiral Korath," President Chen's voice came through subspace radio. "Surely the great galactic hegemony doesn't need to destroy civilian ships to capture a few refugees." Korath replied with cold formality. "The hegemony maintains order through strength. Those who defy us face consequences. Remove your ships. We cannot do that. Then you choose war with an empire that controls 10,000 worlds." President Chen's response surprised him. "We choose to stand with our friends." As the deadline passed, Korath faced a dilemma. Destroying the human ships would be easy, but it would mean killing thousands of innocent people on live galactic news feeds. The hegemony preferred to be seen as firm but fair, not as murderers of primitives. "Target the largest human vessel," he ordered. "One demonstration should scatter the rest." But before his weapons could fire, something unexpected happened. Long-range sensors detected new ships entering the system. Not hegemony vessels. These were old, damaged craft that set off immediate alarms. "Sir, we're receiving multiple refugee distress signals. Kilari waterships, Thren mining vessels, even some Zephyrian art barges." Korath felt his confidence waver. Refugees from across the galaxy were arriving at Earth, drawn by stories of the planet that welcomed the unwanted. His simple mission was becoming complicated. On Earth, President Chen received the same reports. Dr. Okafor was amazed as he watched the scanner displays. 12 more ships in the last hour, he told the president. "Word is spreading through refugee networks faster than we imagined." The new arrivals were desperate. The Quillari were aquatic beings whose ocean world had been drained for industrial use. The Thren were a hive-minded species whose collective consciousness had been declared illegal by hegemony law. The Zephyrians were artists whose creative works were banned for promoting dangerous individuality. Each ship held hundreds or thousands of beings who had nowhere else to go. Captain Zarathul watched the refugee fleet grow and felt both hope and fear. Hope because her people were no longer alone. Fear because Admiral Korath would see this gathering as a rebellion. Her fear proved correct. Korath received new orders from Hegemony Central Command. "Admiral, you will disperse this illegal refugee gathering by any means necessary. The hegemony cannot allow Earth to become a sanctuary for dissidents." The human shield around the Kethemori ship expanded as more refugee vessels arrived. Captain Maria Santos found herself coordinating a fleet that included species she had never heard of. The language barriers were massive, but desperation was universal. A Quillari captain named Deep Current Singer sent a message through the Kethemori translators. "We thank the surface swimmers for their courage. Few species risk themselves for strangers." The Thren collective spoke as one voice. "The human minds show unity without sameness. This is new to us. We wish to learn. Dr. Okafor worked frantically to set up communication systems. He discovered that while the refugee species were very different, they shared common experiences. All had been cast out for refusing to give up something essential to their nature. It's not just about technology, he explained to President Chen. The hegemony wants everyone to think and act the same way. These refugees represent diversity, creativity, independence, everything the hegemony fears. The standoff continued for days. Admiral Korath grew more frustrated as the refugee fleet expanded. Every hour brought new arrivals, and the human shield refused to break. Then came the moment that changed everything. Korath decided to test human resolve. He sent fast attack ships to capture a small group of Kethmori, who were helping repair equipment on one of Earth's space stations. It was meant to be a quick raid, grab a few refugees and show the humans the cost of defiance. But Earth's response shocked the galaxy. Human special forces, working with hastily trained Kethmori volunteers, intercepted the attack. They used small, fast ships enhanced with Kethmori crystal technology. The hybrid human-alien teams moved with incredible coordination, combining human tactical flexibility with alien technology. The rescue was broadcast live across both Earth and the refugee fleet. Humans and Kethmori fought side by side, protecting each other with complete trust. The attack ships retreated in confusion, having never faced such an unusual combination of courage and innovation. Admiral Korath was furious. How did primitives defeat my elite forces? Commander Shek studied the battle recordings. Sir, they're not fighting like any species we know. They adapt instantly, work together without formal command structures, and use their technology in ways we never considered. The successful rescue had another effect. More refugee ships began arriving every day, and they brought stories that spread through the galaxy's information networks. Earth doesn't just offer shelter, reported a Zephyrian artist whose ship arrived that week. They offer partnership. Humans learn from us and we learn from them. They create new possibilities. The news reached other worlds. On planets controlled by the hegemony, oppressed species began to whisper about the small blue world that stood up to an empire. Some began planning their own escapes. Korath realized his mission was failing. Instead of capturing a few refugees, he was watching the birth of a rebellion. Earth had become a symbol of resistance, and symbols were dangerous things. He sent one final message to Earth's leaders. President Chen, you have made your planet a target. The hegemony will return with enough force to destroy your world. Surrender now, and your species might survive as hegemony servants. President Chen's reply was broadcast to every ship in the system. Admiral Korath, 3 months ago, humanity thought we were alone in the universe. Now we know we're part of a galaxy filled with amazing species. Some of them need our help. We won't abandon friends to save ourselves. As if to emphasize her point, another group of refugee ships arrived that day. The fleet around Earth now included dozens of species, all protected by human vessels willing to die for strangers. Admiral Korath withdrew his fleet to a safe distance and sent for reinforcements. The situation was beyond his ability to handle. He needed more ships, more weapons, and new strategies to deal with humans who refused to act like any species he understood. But while he waited for help, something was happening on Earth that would change the galaxy forever. Human scientists worked with refugee engineers to develop new technologies. Artists from different worlds created beauty that no single species could imagine. Children of various species played together, learning that differences could be sources of strength rather than fear. The galaxy had cast out these refugees, but Earth was helping them build something new. Something the hegemony had never faced before. Unity without uniformity, strength through diversity, and hope born from the simple idea that strangers could become family. Admiral Korath didn't realize it yet, but his war wasn't just against Earth. It was against an idea that was spreading faster than his ships could travel. The idea that there was another way to live among the stars. 3 months had passed since Admiral Korath's fleet withdrew to the edge of Earth's solar system. In that time, the small blue planet had transformed into something the galaxy had never seen before. Dr. James Okafor walked through the New Geneva Research Center, amazed by what surrounded him. In one lab, human engineers worked alongside Kethmori crystal shapers to develop new energy systems. Down the hall, Kilari bioscientists helped human doctors understand how to heal using living water. On the next floor, Thren collective minds taught human programmers how to think as one group, while keeping individual creativity. The progress is incredible, he told President Chen during their daily briefing. We're not just learning alien technology. We're creating entirely new sciences. President Chen studied the reports. Earth now hosted nearly 200,000 refugees from 47 different species. Every day brought new arrivals and new discoveries. What about the hegemony threat? She asked. Korath is still out there, but he's not attacking. Our intelligence suggests he's waiting for a much larger fleet. The president nodded grimly. Everyone knew this peace couldn't last forever. Meanwhile, in the crystal gardens aboard Sanctuary's Hope, Captain Zarathul met with her science officer, Veltar. The young Keth Mori was excited about his latest discovery. Captain, working with human neural patterns has revealed something amazing about our crystals. Human brains process information in patterns that match our crystal harmonics perfectly. What does that mean? Zarathul asked. It means humans and Kethemori together can do things neither species could accomplish alone. Watch this. Veltar placed his crystalline hand on a small biocrystal while Dr. Okafor, who had joined them, placed his human hand on the other side. The crystal began to glow, then pulse with complex patterns of light. The crystal is reading both our thoughts and combining them, Dr. Okafor explained. I think of a problem. Veltar thinks of crystal solutions, and the crystal creates something new. The demonstration was interrupted by an urgent message from Earth's orbital stations. More ships were arriving, but these weren't refugees. Captain Maria Santos, now commanding the combined human refugee defense fleet, studied the sensor readings with concern. 12 ships, same class as Korath's. But these are flying hegemony enforcement patterns. The new fleet was led by Admiral Korath's superior, Fleet Commander Torgath. Unlike Korath, who preferred intimidation, Torgath believed in overwhelming force. His ships began deploying around Earth in a sphere formation designed to prevent any escape. Beings of Earth and illegal refugees, Torgath's message boomed across all frequencies. I am Fleet Commander Torgath. Your rebellion ends now. You have 1 hour to surrender all refugees and submit to hegemony authority. President Chen called an emergency meeting with refugee leaders. The room filled with beings of every shape and description, crystalline Kethmori, flowing Kilari, the geometric forms of Thren drones, and dozens of others. We knew this day would come, she said. The question is, what do we do now? Deep Current Singer, speaking for the Quilari, rippled his aquatic form in their expression of determination. The surface swimmers showed us courage. We will not abandon them to save ourselves. The Thren collective spoke in unison. We who think as one choose to stand with those who think as many. This is the new way we wish to learn. Captain Zarathul stood, her crystals glowing with resolve. 3 months ago we were dying in space. Earth gave us life. We will not let the hegemony destroy that gift. One by one, every refugee species declared their intention to fight alongside humanity. But Fleet Commander Torgath commanded 24 warships against Earth's collection of cargo haulers and refugee vessels. The outcome seemed certain. That's when Veltar and Dr. Okafor shared their discovery. The hybrid technology isn't just about energy storage. Veltar explained to the assembled leaders. When human minds and Kethmori crystals work together, we can create things that shouldn't be possible. They demonstrated by linking human ships with Kethmori crystal matrices. Suddenly, cargo haulers could move like fighters. Fishing boats could generate energy shields. Most importantly, human crews could think and react at speeds that matched their alien technology. It's not just humans and Kethmori, Dr. Okafor added. Every species here has abilities that complement each other. The Kulari can make our ships self-healing. The Thren can coordinate our entire fleet as one mind. The Zephyrians can make us invisible to sensors. What emerged was something the galaxy had never seen. Truly cooperative technology. Not one species dominating others, but different abilities working together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. As Torgath's deadline approached, Earth's defense transformed. Human ships now glowed with Kethmori crystal energy. Quilari bioships merged with human vessels to create living spacecraft. Thren mining ships became command centers that coordinated hundreds of vessels as a single organism. Captain Santos found herself commanding not just a fleet, but a new form of space combat. Her ship, Second Chance, was now partially alive thanks to Quillari biotechnology, powered by Kethmori crystals, and connected to every other vessel through Thren collective consciousness. "This is incredible," she reported to Earth Command. "It's like flying with the skills of every pilot in the fleet." When Torgath's hour expired, he expected to face desperate refugees in commandeered cargo ships. Instead, his sensors detected something impossible: a coordinated fleet using technologies his computers couldn't identify. "Sir, their power readings don't match any known systems," reported his tactical officer. "And their formation patterns. They're thinking like a hive mind but acting like individuals." Torgath was confident nonetheless. His ships had destroyed star systems. No collection of primitives and refugees could stand against hegemony might. Begin the attack. Target the largest vessels first. The battle that followed shocked both fleets. The hybrid human refugee ships moved like nothing the hegemony had ever faced. They flowed around hegemony weapons like water, struck like lightning, and seemed to anticipate every tactical move. Captain Santos led a group of enhanced fishing boats against Torgath's flagship. The small vessels should have been destroyed instantly, but Quillari bioarmor healed damage as fast as it occurred, while Kethmori crystals stored and redirected the hegemony's own weapon energy back at them. Impossible. Torgath raged as his massive ship was forced to retreat by vessels 1/10 its size. But the real shock came when the refugee fleet demonstrated their ultimate capability. Using combined Thren collective thinking and human tactical creativity, they didn't just coordinate as one fleet, they thought as one mind while maintaining individual initiative. Admiral Karath, watching from his flagship, couldn't believe what he was seeing. They're not following any known combat doctrine. They're creating new tactics in real time. The hegemony fleet, designed to fight conventional enemies, couldn't adapt to opponents who changed their strategy every few seconds. Vessels that should have been helpless were destroying warships. Ships that appeared damaged would suddenly reveal it was an illusion created by Zephyrian artists. After 6 hours of combat, Fleet Commander Torgath faced a humiliating truth. His superior force was losing to refugees and primitives. "Sir, we've lost 4 ships and the rest are heavily damaged," his tactical officer reported. "The enemy has lost nobody." The hybrid technology hadn't just given the refugees better weapons, it had made their ships nearly impossible to destroy permanently. Quillari bio-repair healed damage, Kethmori crystals powered constant regeneration, and human ingenuity found ways to turn every attack into an advantage. Torgath ordered a retreat, but as his ships limped away, he sent one final message to Earth: "This victory means nothing. The hegemony has fleets that could darken your sun. We will return with enough force to reduce your world to dust." President Chen's reply was broadcast not just to the retreating fleet, but to monitoring stations across the galaxy. "Fleet Commander Torgath, you came here to destroy refugees and found a family. You brought weapons of war and faced tools of cooperation. Tell your hegemony this: Earth doesn't seek to conquer anyone, but we will protect those who seek freedom." As news of the battle spread through galactic communication networks, something unprecedented began to happen. On worlds controlled by the hegemony, oppressed species began to rebel. The victory at Earth proved that the mighty hegemony could be defeated. More importantly, refugee ships began arriving at Earth in unprecedented numbers. The planet that had welcomed a single desperate vessel now became the center of a growing alliance of free species. But Captain Zarathul knew this was only the beginning. The hegemony would not accept defeat. They would return with more ships, new weapons, and the determination to crush this rebellion before it spread further. Earth had won a battle, but the war for galactic freedom was just beginning. 5 years had passed since the first Kethmori ship limped into Earth's solar system. The small blue planet was now the center of something that had never existed before in galactic history: the Sanctuary Alliance. Admiral Zarathul stood on the bridge of her new flagship, the Unity's Promise. The ship was a marvel of cooperative technology, human engineering merged with Kethmori crystals, Quillari biosystems, and Thren collective coordination. It was beautiful, powerful, and impossible according to everything the galaxy thought it knew about space travel. "Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting the hegemony fleet," reported Commander Telshan, whose gray crystals had returned to their natural blue-green after years of good nutrition and hope. Zarathul studied the display. 200 hegemony warships approached Earth. the largest fleet ever assembled. At their head flew Admiral Korath's new flagship, a massive dreadnought called Absolute Authority. "They're not taking any chances this time," she murmured. But Earth was not the same planet that had welcomed desperate refugees 5 years ago. The orbital space around the world bustled with activity that would have amazed any galactic observer. Massive biocrystal structures grew in space like living cities. Ships that seemed part machine, part plant, part living creature moved in graceful formations. And at the center of it all, Earth itself glowed with a soft light from the healing crystals that had repaired centuries of environmental damage. President Chen, now Director General of the Sanctuary Alliance, met with the War Council in the New Geneva space station. The room contained representatives from over 60 species, but they functioned as smoothly as any human government. "What's our fleet strength?" she asked Admiral Santos, who now commanded all Alliance naval forces. 800 ships, but that's counting everything from battleships to supply vessels. More importantly, we have something they don't, which is, Captain Santos smiled. "We have 5 years of species learning to work together. They have 5 years of the same old tactics." The difference was profound. The hegemony fleet was powerful but predictable. Each ship operated independently, following standard protocols developed over centuries. The Alliance fleet was smaller but functioned as a living organism, with every vessel connected through Thren collective consciousness while maintaining human creativity and alien innovation. Dr. Okafor, now Earth's Minister of Interspecies Science, provided the latest intelligence reports. The hegemony is facing rebellions on 47 worlds. Their empire is starting to crack. If they can't defeat us here, their control will collapse. Then they'll fight desperately, Director General Chen observed. Desperate enemies are the most dangerous. The hegemony fleet entered Earth's system with overwhelming confidence. Admiral Korath had been promoted after his previous failure, but he carried the shame of being defeated by primitives. This time he commanded enough firepower to destroy 100 worlds. "Sir, we're detecting the Alliance fleet," reported his tactical officer. 800 vessels, mixed types and species. Korath studied the enemy formation with satisfaction. Even 800 ships couldn't stand against his force. "Begin the attack. I want every ship destroyed and Earth reduced to orbital bombardment range within 6 hours." But as the battle began, Korath realized he faced something unprecedented. The Alliance ships didn't fight like any fleet he had ever encountered. They moved like a school of fish, flowing around his formation, striking weak points, and disappearing before he could respond. Human captains led attacks that seemed suicidal until Quillari bioships revealed the attacks were diversions. Kethmori crystal ships stored massive energy and released it in coordinated bursts that overwhelmed even dreadnought shields. Thren mining vessels, rebuilt as command ships, predicted hegemony movements with uncanny accuracy. Most confusing of all, the Alliance ships seemed to share knowledge instantly. A tactic that worked against one hegemony squadron was immediately adopted by every Alliance vessel in the battle. "Sir, we've destroyed 12 enemy ships, but they've eliminated 37 of ours," the tactical officer reported with disbelief. "Their coordination is beyond anything we've encountered." Admiral Korath felt the familiar frustration of fighting an enemy that refused to follow conventional rules. "Focus all fire on their command ships. Disrupt their communications." But the Alliance had no single command ship. Every vessel could coordinate the entire fleet through Thren collective consciousness. Destroying one ship only made the others fight harder. As the battle raged, something else was happening across the galaxy. The fight at Earth was being broadcast on every communication channel, watched by billions of beings on thousands of worlds. They saw Alliance ships protecting medical vessels. They watched human captains sacrifice themselves to save alien crews. They witnessed species working together in ways the hegemony had claimed were impossible. On hegemony worlds, rebellions erupted. Species that had been forced into the Empire for centuries began to fight for their freedom. The news that Earth was winning gave hope to every oppressed world. In the battle around Earth, Admiral Korath made a desperate decision. If he couldn't defeat the Alliance fleet, he would destroy the planet they were protecting. All ships target Earth directly. Commence orbital bombardment. But as his fleet moved toward the planet, they encountered something that stopped them cold. A barrier of ships unlike anything they had seen before. Vessels that were part machine, part living creature, part pure energy. These were the newest Alliance ships, grown rather than built, using technology that merged every refugee species' abilities. Captain Santos commanded the defense from her ship Second Chance, now barely recognizable from its origins as a cargo hauler. The vessel pulsed with life from Quillari biosystems, glowed with Kethmori crystal energy, and moved with the coordination of Thren collective thought. "All ships, they want to hurt our home," she broadcast to the Alliance fleet. "Show them what happens when you threaten family." The final phase of the battle was unlike anything in galactic history. Alliance ships fought not just with weapons but with coordination that approached telepathy. They anticipated hegemony moves, shared resources instantly, and adapted to new threats in real time. Admiral Korath watched his massive fleet crumble against an enemy that grew stronger as the battle continued. Alliance ships damaged in the fighting were quickly repaired by Quillari biosystems. Energy weapons were absorbed by Kethmori crystals and redirected back at their attackers. Most impossibly, the Alliance fleet seemed to learn from every exchange, becoming more effective with each passing hour. "Sir, we've lost over half our ships," his tactical officer reported. "The enemy has lost less than 50 vessels and they're repairing damage faster than we can inflict it." Korath stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His superior force was being systematically destroyed by refugees and primitives who had learned to work together. As his flagship came under direct attack from a squadron of hybrid vessels, Korath faced a choice he had never imagined: surrender or die. "Alliance fleet, this is Admiral Korath. I request terms for surrender." The response came not from a single voice but from dozens of species speaking in harmony through Alliance translators. "Admiral Korath, we accept your surrender. Any hegemony personnel who wish to join our alliance are welcome. Those who prefer to return to hegemony space may do so freely." Korath was stunned. In 5 centuries of hegemony military service, he had never heard of an enemy offering freedom to defeated soldiers. The aftermath of the battle changed the galaxy forever. News of Earth's victory triggered rebellions on every hegemony world. Species that had been enslaved for generations rose up, inspired by the example of the Sanctuary Alliance. Within a year, the galactic hegemony collapsed. In its place rose something new: a confederation of free worlds based on cooperation rather than domination. Earth became not the ruler of this new galaxy, but its teacher, showing species after species that diversity was strength, not weakness. Admiral Zarathul, now commanding the Alliance's exploration fleets, stood in the crystal gardens of New Earth Station. Through the transparent walls she could see human children playing with young Kethmori, their laughter mixing with the harmonic songs of Quillari youngsters and the geometric dances of Thren offspring. Director General Chen joined her, both women watching the next generation grow up in a galaxy where being different was celebrated rather than feared. "Do you ever think about how it started?" Chen asked. "One desperate ship asking for help?" Zarathul's crystals pulsed with warm light. "The galaxy cast us out because we were different. But Earth showed us that different species could become one family. Ships continued to arrive daily at Earth, not refugees fleeing persecution, but explorers seeking partnership, scientists sharing discoveries, artists creating beauty that no single species could imagine. Children learning that the universe was vast and wonderful, filled with friends they hadn't met yet. The small blue planet that had once thought itself alone in the universe had become the heart of a galactic community, not through conquest or dominance, but through the simple act of welcoming strangers and treating them as family. In the end, humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy wasn't technology or military might.